This is one of Farley's 4 offices. He always worked on a standard typewriter. I don't know how many standard typewriters I've got. I think that might be a good place to start with all these translations. Oh, well, I am Claire Mowat, the widow of Farley Mowat. I met Farley in 1960 in Saint-Pierre-Miquelon. He was there with that terrible leaky old boat, the one he wrote the book about, the boat who wouldn't float, and he was trying to get it repaired. As far as I know at the moment, there are 26 or 7 different languages into which many of his books have been translated. I'm always fascinated by the fact that somebody in Romania sat down and read Never Cry Wolf and translated. I mean, I wonder how it comes out. I don't know if that's of any interest, but that's Farley when he was about 2. He was born in Ontario. He was born in Belleville. His father was a librarian, and then his father was offered the job of director of public libraries for Ontario. So they moved, and that's how they ended up in Richmond Hill. So I don't know if you can get any sort of a likeness from that. One of the things I unearthed recently was a photo album with a few pictures of Farley in his life in Richmond Hill. He went to Richmond Hill High School for grades 12 and 13, and he was quite, I won't say happy, but he was content there. I don't think he was happy going to school under any circumstances. The class of 1940, grade 13, and Farley always boasted that he didn't have to write his final exams in grade 13 because he joined the Army. There was a war that got started in 1939. So he and some of his buddies decided it was easier to join the Army than it was to write grade 13 final exams. He spent a great deal of time on the shoreline of Lake Ontario, just watching birds, and also he always had a dog or a pet chipmunk or a snake in a drawer somewhere in his bedroom, things like that. He was an outdoor person, and he wanted to be outdoors most of the time. But he did like that high school. It was small, and one teacher in particular, Miss Izzard, seemed to sense he had some talent to write. Well, he spoke about Miss Izzard many times, so she must have had quite an effect on him. I think when any of us think back to our school days, there's usually 1 or 2 teachers that spring to mind who affected the courses that you took. She just saw some talent in him and encouraged it. Oh, there's one, wait a minute, no. He did his 3 years at University of Toronto, and in the summers he went to the high Arctic, to what is now part of Nunavut, and that's where he studied wolves, which led eventually to the book Never Cry Wolf. Oh, you might want to take a look at some of these cartoons. Anytime Farley had or there was a cartoon of something about Farley in the media, I would try and get the original. Yeah, the comic strip, For Better, For Worse, has a dog in it called Farley, and that dog was named after Farley Mowat. That one was taken just a couple of weeks before Farley died. That's the last picture anybody took of him. He was almost 93. Well, certainly a great legacy, because he wrote so much. And some of his books and theories were ahead of their time. I'm thinking of A Whale for the Killing, where we watched with horror as a bunch of people shot bullets into a whale in Newfoundland and it died. Well, now things have changed in Newfoundland. If there's a whale caught in a fish net or in a state of distress, they have a whole team of people who go out to try to save the whale and get it to a safe spot in the ocean. Well, that didn't happen when we lived there, but it has happened since, and I like to think Farley pointed the way in a lot of endeavors.